Well, Meredith, I have that it's 7:01. I know there's still a few people hopping into Zoom, but we can go ahead and get started. So I want to welcome you all. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. The Foundation is excited to have you join us to learn more about March of Dimes and also about Bubble Zone. I hope this is something beneficial for you guys and something you take back to your alumni or collegiate chapter or the work you hope to accomplish in our March of Dimes partnership. So before we get started, we're going to do some introductions. And so let me make sure my screen's working here. So tonight, if you don't know who I am, my name is Desiree Paul Hamus. I am a staff member for the Tri Sigma Foundation. I am the Director of Communication and Chapter Fundraising. And the reason I'm on this webinar this evening is because I serve as the March of Dimes liaison for our partnership, for our March of Dimes partnership. And so I work directly with our other guests this evening to ensure our Tri Sigma and March of Dimes partnership continues to grow and move forward. So I'm excited for you guys to be here and learn more about what we're doing and some of the things we're hoping to accomplish in 2018. So I'm gonna let Meredith introduce herself.
Thank you, Desiree. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you tonight. As Desiree mentioned, my name is Meredith Reffick. I'm the Director of Strategic Volunteer Partnerships with the March of Dimes. So we are super excited about our partnership with Tri Sigma and the March of Dimes, and I serve as the liaison from the staff at the March of Dimes to the members of Tri Sigma. So we are excited to be with you all tonight, and thank you for this opportunity to learn more about the Bubble Zone opportunity for Tri Sigma and how your chapter and club members can get involved.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Meredith. So a couple housekeeping things for our webinar tonight. If you're not familiar with Zoom, you do have a control panel on your screen. Everyone is muted and has their video turned off. That'll just help us as we are going through our presentation this evening so that you can see us as we're speaking and presenting, and you should be able to see our slides on the screen as well. If for any reason you have a question throughout the presentation, you do have a chat feature in your control panel. You can go to the chat box and specifically message myself or Meredith, or if you want, just pop your question in there so that everyone can see. We will do our best to try to answer questions along the way, but we will also have a Q&A portion at the end of our presentation tonight. So if you have any technical difficulties, if you're not hearing sound, please just hop in that chat box, let me know. We want to make sure all of that is working okay. We are also recording this session this evening so that we can send it out to chapters as well as a resource. So that'll be available if you're hoping to share this with your chapter sisters or another Sigma friend. That is something you can share with them hopefully by tomorrow. So a couple other expectations I want to set for this evening. We hope you learn some more about the March of Dimes mission this evening. We're going to be introducing Bubble Zone to you all, so you'll know more about Bubble Zone and what that activity looks like. You're going to learn some more education about surfactant and surfactant replacement therapy. We're going to give you 5 tips for success on how to host a Bubble Zone. And then you guys are very lucky. You're also going to get to preview the new March of Dimes brand. So those are just a few of our highlights from our presentation this evening. And I'm actually going to kick it off to Meredith to get us started.
Great. Thank you, Desiree. So as you noticed in the previous slide, the logo has changed from the previous slide to this slide. And we're very excited about the March of Dimes new brand and new look. It's very fresh, it's very innovative, and it really helps strike a young population. So it's not very often that an organization changes their brand. So this has been a work in progress, but just to kind of highlight, you'll notice the M is very bold. in the March of Dimes. And then if you'll notice the dot, and then it looks like a pregnant mom, or it looks like MOD, so March of Dimes. So through a lot of research, we know that a lot of organizations are going to acronym use. And so by us utilizing this, we can then move to MOD in the future. But it's a very catchy, strong, and bold look for the March of Dimes. The colors have changed some as well, as you'll notice. But our mission is still the same: healthy moms and strong babies. So we've also added some different colors. You'll notice the pink where we used to just be the purple. So it's a very exciting time for our organization as we transform to a new look and a new brand to strike more participation and more members to our mission at the March of Dimes. So Desiree, are you directing?
So one of the areas we're going to really focus on this evening is the March for Babies walks and events across the country. So that is one of the largest, it is the largest event for March of Dimes. So we definitely want Tri Sigma to be part of those events. So to kind of lead us into some of the conversation around March for Babies, we're going to show you a video, and just pause with me for a second as I get that pulled up for you guys.
March of Dimes, it is such a great organization, has helped our family so much. I'm able to look at how far we've come and all of the obstacles that he's overcome so far, and to keep looking ahead. Don't give up now because we've come so far. You have someone that's fighting to be here, so you have to continue to fight for that child. That child needs you just as much as you need him.
He was in the NICU at the time of our very first walk, and him not being present, and going through that process, just thinking about him, thinking about, are we going to overcome this?
March of Dimes fights for the health of all moms and babies. We're advocating for policies to protect them. We're working to radically improve the health care they receive. We're pioneering research to find solutions. We're empowering families with the knowledge and tools to have healthier pregnancies. By uniting communities, we're building a brighter future for us all. March for Babies brings together communities in support of our life-saving work. At March for Babies, we hope, remember, and celebrate together, and make the March of Dimes mission come alive.
Celebrating his journey of being victorious and our family overcoming.
For my son being able to get surfactant, to be able to help his lungs develop, to be able to breathe outside of the womb. March of Dimes helped so many families by raising awareness.
It was very exciting to see him run and be a kid, and given that chance and that opportunity to be able to just enjoy his childhood.
That whole journey has come full circle, and it's such a celebratory moment.
All right, Meredith, you should be ready to go.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So that is the official March for Babies video for 2018. You can access that video off of YouTube, so please feel free to share it as you choose, and the link is included in this presentation that'll be shared with you as well. So our mission The March of Dimes has not changed. Our mission is to improve the health of babies by preventing birth defects, infant mortality, and premature birth. And we carry out this mission through advocacy, research, education, and programs. And in saying that, our mission at the March of Dimes leads the fight for the health of all moms and babies. We believe that every baby deserves the best possible start. Unfortunately, we know that not all babies get one. But we're changing that at the March of Dimes. From advocacy to education to research, we're working to level the playing field so that all moms and babies are healthy. We know that when a society supports every family, the future is brighter for all. And you can get involved with our advocacy efforts as well through our website, marchofdimes.org/partner-speak-up. It's a great way for you to become an advocate for the March of Dimes as well. Following decades of leadership and expertise in maternal and infant health, March of Dimes is uniquely qualified as an industry conveyor and collaborator to initiate a productive dialogue for motherhood. March of Dimes uses advocacy, education, and research to combat the social and structural barriers that prevent mothers from getting the care that they need. The March of Dimes is the only nonprofit organization that stays with moms and babies throughout the entire pregnancy experience and beyond. And in that, we know that if the U.S. preterm birth rate had not increased from 2015 to 2016, that approximately 8,000 fewer babies would have been born preterm, and more than $400 million in medical and societal costs could have been avoided. So the March of Dimes advocates, supports, educates, unites, partners with organizations like Tri-Sigma, and funds local research. So that is the focus of the March of Dimes, and where our partnership and Tri-Sigma connect is critical to the success of our organization. So Desiree, I'll hand it back over to you.
Sure. So, oops, let's go back here a slide. So you've heard me mention Bubble Zone. Your chapter may have also heard at President's Academy about Bubble Zone as well. We announced that at President's Academy. So bubbles, you may be thinking, why bubbles? What's going on with bubbles? I don't even know what this means. But we want to tie it always back into Sigma Serves Children. So with March for Babies walks all across the country, we know there's an opportunity for Tri-Sigma to be a huge partner and a strong base of volunteers. And so we wanted to come up with an activity that was unique to Tri-Sigma, that we could brand and be part of this event and really stand on our own. Also to engage one-on-one with families and children. So most of you may remember in your childhood when you played with bubbles. I know I loved it. It was a simple activity. Maybe you were in elementary school, you were on the playground with your friends playing with bubbles, but just something simple that kids automatically are drawn to. When they see bubbles, they want to pop them, they want to catch them. So we're going to turn this into an activity and event. I'm going to tell you more about that in a second. But we're going to bring this to March for Babies events. And if you don't have a March for Babies event near you, we're going to be bringing it to your campus or your community. What I'm about to show you in this activity is something that translates in various forms to meet your chapter's needs or your campus or community needs. And ultimately help us raise awareness and engage more Tri-Sigma volunteers and advocates for March of Dimes. When we go back at it to the core of this partnership and why it was built and created in 2016, two of the core principles of our partnership is that we wanted to raise awareness for prematurity, and we wanted to engage volunteers for March of Dimes as well. So we feel that this is hopefully a great opportunity to do both of those things. So we're going to introduce Bubble Zone. As I briefly talked about already, this is going to be a chance for Tri-Sigmas and your chapter to be advocates for this cause. With it being relatively new of a partnership, we know not everyone and not all Tri-Sigmas have had the opportunity to be an advocate, to speak about March of Dimes with other people, and that's going to be the chance to do this. We also want chapters and Tri Sigma to be visible in their communities. So again, we're pushing you out there into your community to engage and be part of March of Dimes world. And then we want you to connect with others. We also, all chapters, I know I hear them say, Sigma serves children. We actually want you to go out and interact with children and their families and feel comfortable enough to talk about March of Dimes and why we're partnered with March of Dimes on a national level and what we're doing to help raise awareness and support their cause. So we want to give you the tools to do that, but also have fun along the way. So the cool thing about Bubble Zone, again, I've already mentioned that it's unique to Tri Sigma, and it's going to be something only Tri Sigmas are hosting at March for Baby event walks. But the other great thing about the Bubble Zone is it's very mission-centric to March of Dimes. And I'm going to let Meredith share a little bit more about why Bubbles is representative of their mission and the work they do.
Great. Thank you, Desiree. So surfactant is one of the last things developed in a baby, and surfactant is a warm jelly foam that surrounds your lungs and my lungs that allow them to expand and contract. But surfactant is one of the very last things that is developed on a baby in the womb. So when a baby is born prematurely, 9 times out of 10, they do not have the warm jelly foam of surfactant around their lungs. So through research that the March of Dimes funded, we came up with synthetic surfactant, as also known as surfactant replacement therapy. And so what it does is it sends this warm jelly foam into the premature baby's lungs for them to expand and contract on their own. So when you think about a bubble and you think about what a bubble is in the liquid, and then you blow the bubble and it expands and makes the bubble. It's the same type of process that surfactant does into the lungs of premature babies. So this was a huge medical breakthrough for the March of Dimes. Babies survive today because of surfactant replacement therapy and because of the research that the March of Dimes funded to come up with this. So it's very symbolic when we think about bubbles and surfactant and the comparison with the warm jelly foam type substance that a bubble is, and the same as the warm substance of surfactant that surrounds our lungs. So there is that connection with our mission, with the Bubble Zone thought process, and I think that you guys can help us to bring that mission alive in the communities that you serve.
Thanks, Meredith. So again, Bubble Zone is going to be very mission-centric to March of Dimes. It's an opportunity for us to showcase the work March of Dimes has already done, but also talk about the urgency and the reason we need to continue to raise awareness, because again, preterm birth is still an issue that needs to be solved. We still need that research and that continued medical innovation to keep providing things like surfactant replacement therapy and other medical breakthroughs to ensure all babies are born healthy and happy. And so that's, again, why we're raising awareness and bringing it back to the mission of March of Dimes, and that through research and through advocacy, we can help make that happen as Tri Sigmas. So I want you all for a minute to imagine what this could look like. So in our head, if you have never been to a March for Babies walk, you can imagine that it's very similar to another 5K or another walk you've been to. There's crowds of people, there's a registration tent, you're going with your friends and with your sisters, and Tri Sigma is going to be part of the Kids Zone area at the March for Baby walks. So in the Kids Zone area, there could be other activities such as face painting or making something with the kids. And Tri Sigma is going to be right there in the middle of Kids Zone with our purple tent, our table, purple tablecloth, maybe some purple balloons. Your chapter is going to be wearing your March of Dimes shirts with the joint branding or a cute design. You're going to have this sign up on your tent, And maybe you're going to be giving away little bottles of bubbles to children as they walk by. You're going to have some bubble activities for the kids to come in and interact. You may have some signs, some fact sheets to hand out to parents about surfactant replacement therapy and how March of Dimes has made an impact. So I hope you can just imagine when you get a group of sisters together at the March for Babies walk, how you can be engaged, you can interact one-on-one with people, children are going to be coming through, they're going to see you blowing bubbles, maybe you have a bubble machine. They're going to want to stop and interact with you. They're going to want to know who you are and why you're advocating for this cause. So it's a great opportunity for us to be ambassadors and also raise awareness and provide that education to the children and those families who are interacting with us. So that's what we imagine it would look like. So I'm going to share a couple tips for success. So the foundation has built an entire guide for how you can host your bubble zone. We're just going to share 5 tips that I wanted to touch on. This guide is available right now online on the foundation website. Let me drop this link in here. So you can go to it and look it up right now if you want. So when you go there, you can download the full guide for your chapter, and it'll give you the instructions and also the supplies you need to be successful. Each supply, there's a hyperlink to either the link to Amazon or Target or wherever online that you could order that supply if your chapter doesn't already have it. So a couple tips. One, you're going to sign up online if you want to host a bubble zone. So together, Meredith and I are going to ensure that your questions are answered, that you have all the resources you need to be successful. And if you don't know where your closest March for Babies walk is, or the date of your March for Babies walk, we're going to help answer those questions for you. So on that same link I provided is where you can go out and fill up that form that your chapter wants to participate. It'll ask you to put in contact information, answer a few questions for us. And again, that's just going to help us better support you so we can connect you to March of Dimes staff and make sure they know that you want to host a bubble zone at their walk. The next tip I have for you is determine how many members in your chapter want to participate, whether it's your alumni chapter, your collegiate chapter. It could even be just a group of Tri Sigma friends in the area who all want to host a bubble zone. You only have to have a minimum of 5 members to host. So I think that works perfect for both small chapters, large chapters, but you do want to get a gauge of how many people are interested in participating. I will say that if you have a larger chapter, it may be great if you have 15 members at your bubble zone tent, but maybe if you have 40 members who are interested in being part of the March for Babies walk, maybe some people walk and some people are part of bubble zone, and maybe you guys swap at the event and then another group goes and walks, whatever that might look like. So depending what activities you're doing and decide to do with the children will depend how many volunteers you need. So just get a gauge in your chapter of how many people want to participate so that then you can begin building and structuring who's going to be doing what and when. And again, whether you're signing up for Bubble Zone or if you also want some members to walk in March for Babies as well. There are other great opportunities that March of Dimes can offer you, other volunteer opportunities. If you at March for Babies walks, if you have more chapter members, Meredith can touch on that a little bit more near the end of our presentation, but it could include maybe helping at the registration table, helping with volunteers, set up, breakdown, things like that. So lots of options no matter the size of your chapter. The other tip is you're going to want to build your supply list. I'm going to show on the next slide, there's different children's activities you can do with bubbles. And so your supply list may look different from another chapter. So you always want to make sure you build that out in plenty of time before your walk so you can make sure and have all the supplies you'll need. Also know what you have and what you don't have. So you may have a purple tent, you may have a tailgate tent you already use for your chapter that you can use. but there's a wide array of things that you might have to purchase in order to host your bubble zone. So just be aware of that. The foundation has been very conscientious. Many of these items that you need for bubble zone are relatively low cost or things you should normally already have within your chapter or could find from Tri Sigma Sisters. So we hope that you don't have to go out and purchase all of the supplies you need. Tip number 4, before you host a bubble zone, we're going to ask that you host a March of Dimes education program with your group of volunteers or to your entire chapter prior to your bubble zone event. We want to make sure that before you host your bubble zone and you have volunteers out at your tent, that everyone feels comfortable communicating about surfactant replacement therapy, what the bubbles represent, why you are out here supporting March of Dimes, maybe a little history about the Tri Sigma March of Dimes partnership, and why this is so exciting for us to be part of the March for Babies event. And then last but not least, there's going to be some children's bubble activities that you can include in your bubble zone. It's always best to test them before you actually get on site. I'll walk you through a couple, but in making bubble solutions in bulk, it takes many ingredients. It may need to sit overnight to work the best. And so it's always good to pre-practice maybe a couple weeks in advance to make sure you have your solution of bubbles right, and that it's going to work when you're actually there on site in case you need to make some tweaks or make some adjustments in your ingredients. So overall, these are some tips for success, but we definitely want you to have fun. We want to make sure you're engaging with children and families. So to do that, you're going to get to be creative. To be honest, many of these activities that the foundation pulled came from Pinterest, lots of mommy blogs of ways to use bubbles to keep children engaged. So as you can see in some of these pictures, you can create large bubbles and have the kids stand in the middle of them. You can use straws to create bubble blowers, which is really simple and cost effective. So have the kids come up, dip their straws in, blow bubbles, have some fun, and then have them toss them before they leave. And so it might get a little messy, but for them, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. And then another activity I found is that you can actually hold a bubble in your hand, catch the bubbles. And so they can see in their hand the bubble and hold it. It requires a little bit more. Again, you have to have the cotton winter gloves so the oil on your skin doesn't touch the bubble and pop it. But again, that solution's a little different than the bubble solution you might use to do the giant hula hoop bubble. So Pinterest is going to be your friend here, and it's a lot of fun. I probably had way too much fun looking at all the activities on Pinterest. So really you have the opportunity to find what's going to interest you and your chapter members, what's going to engage with the children in your community. And even from year to year, you have the opportunity to change it up. Your bubble zone won't always have to be the same. You can do different activities. And two, if you don't have a March for Babies walk near you, choose some activities that are going to be fun on your campus. I know if I were to, I've never stood inside a bubble. Like that would be interesting to me back in my college days, is if you're doing that in the middle of campus, students are going to be walking by and see that and going to start asking questions. So it's a great opportunity to engage people and talk about March of Dimes. So what I ask for you there is have fun, go on Pinterest, get creative, and really there's no wrong answers as long as the children are having fun. So all of this, to kind of wrap up Bubble Zone, it's all about Sigma Surf's children. We want to tie it back, make sure you have that one-on-one interaction. I'll let Meredith attest to this here in a second as well. If you've never been to a March for Babies walk, there are children who were born prematurely, families who've been directly impacted by premature birth, and even families and friends who are there to support loved ones who have been impacted by the mission as well. So there are a variety of people in this community who you can engage with and interact with one-on-one. Again, this translates just as well as if you're doing this on campus or at a community event. So maybe you don't have your March for Babies walk, but there's another community fair or community gathering that you feel that this activity might be a good fit. And we encourage you to reach out to those organizers. See if this is someplace you can raise awareness for March of Dimes. Is it a nonprofit fair? Is March of Dimes going to another event where Tri Sigma could host a bubble zone at a school or with children? Maybe it's at a Boys and Girls Club, something of that sort. There's really no limits to what you can do in your community. So to touch a little bit more about the details and the support you will have regarding Bubble Zone, I'm going to pass it on to Meredith.
Sure. So it's very easy for us to connect you with your local March of Dimes staff members. I'm going to be probably your best resource for that. So get in touch with myself or Desiree if you wanted to get connected with an event in your community. We do have events across the country. They are not in every city and town. So I think, as Desiree mentioned, some great opportunities to do some campus events if we don't have a local March for Babies event in your town. But March for Babies really is the backbone of our organization at the March of Dimes. And it's fun and families get involved. And when we started this conversation with Tri Sigma about how you could get more involved with our March for Babies events, I think this really was a wonderful idea for you guys to help us to engage our families more at the events. Some of the events, I've been to events that have 120 people, and I've been to events that have 3,000 people. So it really can be, but the model at March for Babies is the same anywhere you go. So as Desiree mentioned, there's going to be a registration table, there's going to be food, there's going to be cleanup that needs to be done, there's going to be a kids zone or some sort of children's activities being done. So it really is a great opportunity to engage with our donors and our constituents at the March of Dimes and put the face of Tri Sigma into the families that we serve. So March for Babies events, I'm probably the best person to connect you to a March of Dimes staff person, and we can get you guys connected and get you set up so that you can then work with your local March of Dimes staff member to go through specific logistics that would happen at the event in the community that you live.
So if you are with us this evening and you are not sure when your local March for Babies event is, feel free to email Meredith and she can get those answers for you. As well as if you complete the Bubble Zone sign-up form, you can let us know that you don't know where your walk event is being held this year or the date, and she will receive those entries as well and can send that information out to you. So if you are most likely maybe not the person who might be chairing the Bubble Zone, maybe you're the chapter president or another chair position that this wouldn't really fall under you, please just encourage them, whoever might lead this for your chapter, to fill out that sign-up form. That'll be really helpful to us if they just answer those questions. We'll be happy to send over the resource guide along with any additional information they need. So again, feel free to email Meredith. You can also reach out to me. So all in all, we hope this is something you could see yourself hosting, your chapter hosting, in some capacity to help raise awareness for March of Dimes. And so I'm going to take an opportunity. If you have any questions, we'd love to answer them. Feel free to drop those questions in the chat box. It's in your control panel. You can just type that question. My contact information is also on the screen, as well as Meredith's email is still there for you. One thing we did not quite touch on, as you see the new March of Dimes brand, you do still have access to the Tri Sigma March of Dimes joint logo that is available to download on the foundation website. At any time, you can download that package and use that joint logo. Example, if you wanted to put branded stickers on the bottle of bubbles that you're passing out, or if you want to put the joint logo on a postcard or flyer that you're handing out to families. You can still use the joint logo. We will be updating that logo soon with the new brand, but in the meantime, you can continue using the current joint logo that we have until that's updated. So feel free to use that on t-shirts, if you order the t-shirts from Coastal Greek, or any March of Dimes events that you're doing, you can still use that logo there as well. I don't see any questions at the moment. You guys can always reach out to us. Meredith, do you have anything that maybe we missed? Meredith, I think you're on mute.
Sorry. No, I don't have anything else. I think you've done a great job covering everything. The toolkit is fabulous and a great guide to walk you through the entire process of hosting a bubble zone. And we're just excited. Please take lots of pictures. Please put them on social media and hashtag them as much as you can so that we can get the message out there and share the partnership. So I think great job, Desiree, and we're excited to see Tri-Sigma produce bubble zones all over the country. It's going to be fabulous. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time and can't wait to see your efforts. Again, if you have a chapter officer or chapter member who can benefit from watching this webinar later, this will be shared with chapters and you will have access to the recording hopefully by the end of this week, if not tomorrow. And so thank you guys and feel free to reach out to us. Have a great evening.